So first of all, my name is Audrey Neff. I'm the Director of Marketing for the Patient Now portfolio. We work with thousands and thousands of practices globally. And what I'm going to be focusing on today in the next 20 minutes are Instagram strategies specifically to build trust with millennials. Before we jump in, to give a little recap from my lecture yesterday morning, it was basically an introduction to the undertapped, immensely valuable consumer market in aesthetics that's going to fuel the future of this industry and every single person's practices in 2023 and beyond is millennials. So the reason millennials are a consumer group we have to pay attention to, or we will literally get left in the dust, is because when it comes to Gen X and boomers, their market share in aesthetic medicine is decreasing. It's not increasing. Gen X, do they have 41% of the market share? Yes, in North America specifically. However, their market share is decreasing. Millennials, while they only have around 20%, 21% of the North America market share in aesthetics, their market share will be increasing moving forward. So we have to have a plan, we have to have a strategy, we have to prioritize it in our business. And when it comes to social media specifically, the platform that will, from a monetization standpoint, it's going to be Instagram. And we're going to touch on some powerful yet simple strategies that you can implement in your practice starting on Monday morning when you get back. Okay, so once again, this is a recap too, since I know we have a couple of people who weren't in the session yesterday. What do millennials value? How can we cater to their unique nuances? So as a recap, the 5 core values, because this is going to play a role in your Instagram strategy when it relates to building trust with this very unique consumer group in aesthetic medicine, okay? Convenience, right? I don't like the term lazy. I'm a millennial. We're not lazy. We just have phones, internet at our fingertips, as everybody does. Choices, they do their research, they do their due diligence, which is when social media really comes into play. If I'm researching an aesthetic provider as a millennial consumer and they're not on social media or they don't have an Instagram, to me, that does not build trust at all. Right? We have to ensure that we have these strategies in place. Experiences, authenticity, millennials know when they're being sold. Relatability. Okay, so in the digital ecosystem, obviously there's a lot of clutter we have to cut through. There's a lot of things that we have to be doing. In today's session, we're specifically just going to focus on Instagram. But you need to be doing all these things. Your Google business profile, your reviews, we talked about those yesterday, your website, ongoing marketing. And then, of course, social. So an outlet to focus on, Instagram, okay? This was actually, I found this pretty interesting. So this was a report done by Allergan like 2 or 3 years ago. So this number is probably higher if they were to redo the same study. According to an Allergan 360 report, 83% of millennials turn to Instagram specifically when seeking information on aesthetic treatments and providers. So data doesn't lie. Okay, we know this statistic. Do you think we can ignore Instagram in our practice? No. We cannot ignore it. So where to start? Basic plan. And Aaliyah touched on tons of great things. And I feel like it was she built a really good bridge into a lot of the things I'm going to kind of go into detail in this presentation. Determine your target market and outlets. Today we're focusing on millennials and Instagram. What are the goals we're trying to achieve, right? What are we trying to do? Are we trying to acquire new patients? Are we trying to build our brand on social media, our following? What are we trying to do? What is our goal? What are we going to post? We're going to go through content that you should be prioritizing that actually builds trust with millennials. How often, what times of day? Who's going to be responsible for it? This is a big thing. Who's going to do it? And people say, oh, social media is free. It's not free because no one's time is free. In this industry, our time is a revenue opportunity for our business, right? And we'll go into my professional advice around what to do around that as well. How are you going to measure the results? What's going to determine success? What are we going to look at on a monthly basis that determines whether we're being successful with it or not? And then adjust strategy accordingly based on facts, not feelings. As anything, we should be a mantra that we should all live by when it comes to our practices and our businesses. Everything needs to be based on facts, not feelings. You can't be like, oh, I feel like my social media is working if you're not measuring anything or monitoring anything. I feel like my practice is doing really well, and then you don't know what your actual revenue was last year. I kid you not, I talked to so many practices, this is a whole other topic for another day, that don't even have revenue goals at all. Okay, posting tips. So, key is consistency and frequency. Aaliyah touched on this as well. As anything that you freaking do in life, you have to be consistent and frequent, right? So you can't do social media for a month and then be like, okay, I'm done, forget about it. You have to be consistent and frequent with it. Always stay consistent with what your brand represents, how you want your brand to be perceived, who are you, how do you want to portray yourself, staying consistent with that. This is the big thing, and this is probably one of the most common mistakes I see. Long story short, don't post to post, okay? So ask yourself, with what I'm posting, whether it's a post, a reel, whatever it is it going to accomplish one of these 4 things? Is it going to be a conversion-driven post, which would be something that's going to drive interest into my business, into my practice? Engagement, the algorithm, and we'll go into the algorithm, loves engagement. Inspiration, we all like to be inspired. Millennials included in that. And education, which can really go into all these things as well. Because education is great, because do we want to use social media for gaining new millennial patients? Yes, but it's also a very powerful platform for retaining our existing patients and increasing per patient spend and increasing loyalty and all of these things. And introducing new technology into our practice as well. So focus on real practice and patient-centered content versus stock imagery. Do you think posting a stock image with your practice logo that writes, call us today to come in for a consultation, is that engaging in any way, shape, or form? No, right? And when it comes to the algorithm, that type of post is going to fail miserably because it's not going to get the engagement it needs. And we'll go into the algorithm in a little bit here shortly. So honestly, what I would say, my advice to everyone in this room, just like Aaliyah said, people want to see people. Millennials want to see people. How many people in this room would rather connect with a human being than a logo? Everybody. We're all human. We want to connect with people. So stock imagery, throw that out the window. Don't do it. Focus on content that the center of attention is people, right? So your providers, your practice, your patients with consents, bulletproof consents you of course have to have. We can't forget about that either. So people, focus on that. That's what millennials want to see. Hashtags, we already touched on that, so I'm going to move past this. And honestly, avoid getting hung up on the perfect post. Like, people spend so much time giving themselves brain damage because the real sound doesn't match up perfectly with the audio. And then they're just stressing themselves out. They spend 60 minutes when they could have just posted it. Was it perfect? No. Is that really going to change anything at the end of the day? No. So don't let perfect get in the way of good, average, good enough to post. Okay, what to post? Before and after photos. We talked about this yesterday. Millennials value before and after photos immensely. You have to have them. It has to be a priority. They have to be consistent. They have to have the right angles. The big thing I see is inconsistency. And this is an easy thing that you can fix in all of your practices. Showcase your before and after photos on social media. Consents. We just always have to keep that in mind, consent forms. Why? Because going back to those core 5 values, they value relatability. They want to see other millennial patients just like them. Make sure you have consistent lighting, angles, background. Whoever won RX photo, this will help you out immensely with that. I find it very, very effective to describe the treatment plan in the caption. Okay? This is good from an educational standpoint. It's good from a setting expectations standpoint. So I know before coming in for a consultation that the incredible results of this patient I saw a wonderful before and after photo of, I know that that treatment plan was actually over a 12-month time span, utilizing combination therapy approaches in the practice, these medical grade skincare lines. So not thinking you come in, you want these results, and you assume one syringe of filler is going to do it, right? So educate on social media, describe the treatment plan. With a call to action, of course. Also, I still see this. I don't know why this bugs me so much. If it's an immediately after photo and it's not the final results, disclose that's not the final results. I see it with lip filler all the time. Immediately after, we all know that those are not the final results. So from a setting expectations standpoint, you're not setting the correct expectations, because now Susan is going to come in thinking that that's going to be the final results, and when that's not, and she has to get another syringe of filler, or whatever it may be, that may not lead to the best experience for Susan, right? So I wouldn't even do it, honestly. Final results only. Sculptra, also another thing. I don't know why people post immediately after photos of Sculptra, because that's not the full treatment plan, depending how many vials they need. It's over time, biostimulatory. Calls to action. Reviews. I'm in time, 9 minutes. Long story short, we talked about reviews yesterday. Showcase your reviews on social, right? Once again, going back to those core fab values with millennials, relatability, authenticity. If you want to go a step further too, how many of you guys use Canva? So Canva, a free tool or an upgraded tool, upgraded version. Go in, create a branded template with your color scheme, logo, whatever it is. Go to your Google business profile. Those reviews have already been made public by the patients. Copy and paste them into a beautiful template, and you can showcase your reviews on your Instagram, right? Easy thing to do too. And once again, people want to connect with people. That's like the theme of this entire message today, is millennials want to connect with people. Okay, so treatment videos, provider videos, patient testimonial videos. I mean, the sky's the limit. There's so many different things that we can do. From an educational standpoint, a conversion standpoint, all of these things. Humor, who likes to laugh? Okay, you guys, I'm asking that again. There's no way that 3 of us like to laugh. Who likes to laugh? Yes, laughing is the best medicine in the entire world. We love to laugh. Millennials love to laugh. Incorporate humor. We don't need to be so professional all the time. We can make it fun. And we're gonna do a really fun and funny social media exercise at the end. Incorporate humor, you guys. It's great for the algorithm because things that are funny will get engagement. Millennials love laughing, right? And actually, if anyone wants a good practice to get ideas and inspiration from, you can see it on the screen. It's Aesthetic Center. Drop the A in the front. They create great content. One of my closest friends in the industry was the CEO of this practice for a while before selling it to private equity. They still kill it. Reels are going to come big in with the humor thing, which we'll touch on. Once again, we talked about this educational driven content. Aim to create a post that will inform your followers, generate saves. So on the lower right-hand side, you can save posts, which the algorithm also loves. And we'll go into the algorithm here shortly. I know I keep talking about that. Treatment comparisons, these are just easy examples. When do you need what? How much of whatever product is needed to achieve the most desired outcomes? Skincare related content, what products does PA Nancy love to use, right? These are her products of choice in our practice from these medical grade skincare lines that we carry. Calls to action, once again, reach out to our practice to schedule your consultation today so we can sit down with you and develop a comprehensive, customized approach that will yield the best possible outcomes for whatever your skin goals are, your body goals are. Stories, Leah touched on this as well. Post stories every day. People are like, how many stories should I post? Honestly, post as many stories as you want. Post them every day. And the cool thing about stories is your vibe attracts your tribe. People are like, well, I don't want to annoy people. If people don't like you, they're not going to watch your stories. People who love you are going to be like, I love this practice, I love this provider, I'm watching all their stories, whether it's 20 or 50, right? So just your vibe attracts your tribe, it's so true. We'll attract the patients that we want to attract by being our true, authentic selves as well. And on that note, you don't need to try to copy what other people are doing. Figure out who you are, right? That's going to be your unique value proposition, along with what you strive to deliver for your patients within the practice. Just be you. Right? Be your true, authentic self. Some people may not like you, some people may not. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that despise me, and some who like me. And I'm okay with that. I'm gonna be my true, freaking authentic self every single day. Same concept applies to you guys. Reels, okay. The algorithm loves Reels. And we probably all know this, but why did Instagram come out with Reels to compete with TikTok? Yes. And Aaliyah touched on this as well. I would definitely prioritize Reels in the practice. Post a Reel every single day, if you can. And we're gonna show you guys in the interactive exercise that we'll do. I feel like so often we overcomplicate things. Reels can be as simple as you make them. They don't need to be these super complex videos all the time, right? So Reels, I would definitely prioritize as it relates to building trust, converting, building credibility, all of these things, making people laugh. Okay, so the algorithm really quickly. So in a nutshell, to put it in like the simplest terms possible, the way that Instagram algorithm works is, and I'm gonna use simple math, okay? Let's say you have 100 followers and you post something. Instagram will be like, okay, we're only gonna push this post out, let's say, to a group of 10 people. Now those 10 people have to interact with it and engage with it in order for the algorithm to be like, okay, this seems relevant, let's push it to another group of 10 people. Now that group needs to engage with it, and then they'll push it to another group. For those of us who have been on Instagram for the last decade, let's say, we all experience it. It's been a lot more difficult from an engagement perspective as it relates to the algorithm. So this is why stock imagery does not work. You will not grow your Instagram organically with stock imagery. You're not gonna build trust with millennials through stock imagery. Just don't do it. And I run into so often, practices are like, well, I hired this company to do my social media, and they're paying like $2,000 a month. I'm like, okay, let's pull up your Instagram and look at it. And it's stock photos. Like, that's not doing anything. Okay, some tools I love using. CapCut is awesome. I love it for video editing. It's awesome. Splice, you could speed up, slow down. You can also do that within the Instagram app if you're creating a reel, let's say. For the URLs, and there's more platforms out this now, for the URL in your Instagram bio, don't just do your practice website because now that's only one place they can go. There's tools out there, Linktree's free, where you can have multiple URLs within one Linktree link. So your before and after gallery, learn more about our membership program, learn about a tour of our practice, whatever it is. There's an app, it's literally called Captions. I love this for generating their AI captions, right? So use AI to create really awesome captions. Because with videos, I would caption all your videos. If someone's talking or a provider's doing an educational video, I strongly encourage you to use captions. Instagram has the captions tool within the platform, but if you want to make it even cooler, I would do the Captions app. It's like $100 a year. It's not super expensive. Canva, a lot of us already mentioned we use that. Download Canva. And then RX Photo is really cool for your before and after photo consistency. And we actually have an integration with Canva with RX Photo, which I think I already touched on. So you can push all the before and after photos of patients who already gave consent directly into Canva. Go in, it's all there. You can create your cool content and post away. Okay, tracking metrics and leads, 1.5 minutes. I'm gonna go through that one, skip through that one. Let's go to who should manage your social media. So this is like the billion-dollar question I get asked all the time. And here's my advice to you guys. Don't hire third-party vendors unless they're gonna come in. There are companies out there that will come in and do like content days and stuff like that. That's great. I'm all for hiring those companies. And maybe you spend a couple $1,000s, they come in, they do a huge content day with your team, create professional videos, you have it all archived for 6 months of posts, whatever it is. But just don't hire those companies that are gonna be posting for you and they live in like another country or whatever it is, and it's stock imagery. So just don't do that. I would advise you hire someone, okay? One of them, I promise that there's an ROI on someone's position if their job is to manage social media. Because social media, if you want to do it the right way, it is a full-time job. Absolutely. Whether it's a first-time grad, an internship you offer with someone who's millennial, Gen Z, they're savvy with social, they want to work. There's plenty of people out there that still want to work in the younger generations. They're hungry, they're driven, they're passionate, they want to get into the world of marketing or social media, whatever it is. And if you want to go a step further, since this is a non-medical position, you can get really creative with compensation plans as well. So whether you want to lower the hourly or the salary, whatever it is, and then you put in a bonus plan where they get paid bonuses based on quality leads or consultations driven from their social media efforts for the business. Because now they're going to be more incentivized in their role to be successful for your practice because it affects their compensation. I cannot tell you how many clients of ours at Patient Now have put this into place, and they're like, this was a game changer for me. So at the end of the day, what is the most important part of a successful social media strategy as it relates to building trust with millennial consumers, ages 27 to 42, they're not going anywhere, they're gaining market share. If we don't prioritize our Instagram strategy, the next 5 years, we will be losing market share, we will be struggling. It's you, whoever's the driver in your practice of growth and success, everybody, your team. So your leadership, it all starts from the top down. Priorities, your people who will make or break your practice. Once again, that's another topic for another day, but processes, okay, and the tools, technology and software that you choose to use as it relates to growing and building trust with millennials on Instagram specifically. So takes initiative, takes a strategy. Yes, it takes time, resources, costs money to make money. It's the reality of the world we live in, especially in cash pay medicine. We need to be committed to growth, right? What are our goals? What's the strategy? What does this look like? How are we going to monitor success? And then accountability and management too. That's a big one. And you can't get different results by doing things the same way. Oh, I hope my Instagram gets more followers. Okay, hope is not a strategy. You have to actually create a strategy and then execute it. And it always comes back to belief at the end of the day, which is super corny, but it's so true. Like, we all have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe that we can do a better job at growing our Instagram and building trust with millennials, because if we don't believe we can do it, then it dead ends right there. So I believe you guys can all do it because you guys obviously invested time, energy, and effort to come to this event, right? So I believe you guys can do it, but it doesn't matter what I believe. It only matters what literally every single person, what you believe inside. So what type of practice do you want to be? What do you need to do? And when would be a good time to start? Who would say today? Raise your hand. Okay, we're going to do something super corny. I do all the time, but I love it. Is if we all think today would be a phenomenal freaking day to start, we're going to say amen on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Amen. Yes, it would be such a good time to start, you guys. So thank you guys so much. If you want a copy of the presentation or to get on my educational list for the bi-weekly webinars I do, you can scan the QR code. Other than that, feel free to connect with me. We're going to do a fun exercise here at the end. I also have a host of really cool podcasts called True to Form. If anyone is interested in coming on the podcast as a guest, I'd be happy to have you. I've had Heather on. I've had Kara on. So I'm happy. Yeah, Mark, you're coming on. Yep, absolutely. So thank you guys so much.